Imagine writing a book that is so wildly offensive to the authorities that it actually triggers over 60 criminal lawsuits across the United
Yeah.
States.
I mean, booksellers were literally getting arrested.
Right, facing jail time just for having a novel sitting on their counter.
Yeah.
So, welcome to today's deep dive. We're exploring Henry Miller's 1934 novel, Tropic of Cancer.
A book that was, legally branded an open sewer back in the day.
Exactly. But now, the modern library ranks it as one of the greatest English language novels of the 20th century. And the wild part is that the literary free speech you enjoy today was basically forged in the fire of this exact controversy.
It really is a massive pivot in cultural history.
Yeah.
But to really grasp why this test exploded the legal system, we have to look at the raw material Miller was actually working with.
Because Tropic of Cancer isn't exactly a traditional novel with a neat plot, right?
No, not at all. It's this, blurry mix of autobiography and fiction detailing his actual life as a starving, desperate bohemian in 1930s Paris.
And he definitely didn't pull any punches, starting right with the title. I mean, calling a book Tropic of Cancer isn't exactly inviting. What was his underlying philosophy there?
Yeah, well, for Miller, cancer symbolized the literal disease of modern civilization.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he looked around and believed society had just hit a dead end, that logic had run rampant, and created a world entirely devoid of real feeling.
Right. He even described the Paris he was surviving in as a mad slaughterhouse.
Exactly. To him, humanity needed to hit rock bottom and just start completely over.
Which, completely explains his writing style. He uses this stream of consciousness approach, meaning he's essentially dumping his unfiltered thoughts directly onto the page.
Right, without worrying about traditional grammar or, polite censorship.
Yeah, it's like taking a sledgehammer to the polished gold standard of literature. He wanted pure, unedited human emotion. But reading through the sources, I really have to wonder if his method backfired. Like, in his pursuit of raw reality, do those aggressively graphic sexual themes overshadow the actual art?
Well, that tension you're feeling is exactly what fractured the literary world in half. The reactions were aggressively polarized.
I can imagine.
Yeah, a 1960s Pennsylvania Supreme Court Justice, Michael Musmano, read it and actually declared the book a pit of putrefaction and a cesspool.
Okay, so then how did the literary elite justify praising it if the legal system was calling it literal trash?
Well, you had heavyweights like George Orwell looking at it through a completely different lens.
Right.
Orwell praised Miller precisely because he tackled those ugly, graphically uncomfortable aspects of life. He argued that forcing the reader to confront this ugliness gets at the real facts of human existence.
Which paradoxically makes life feel more meaningful. But I see that argument, yet looking strictly at the text, the defense of literary merit feels a bit strained in certain chapters.
How so?
Well, take the character Van Norden. He's depicted as totally sexually corrupt, with zero empathy for women. The comedy built around him is undeniably lowbrow and just aggressively crude.
Yeah, it's very jarring.
Right, so was this genuinely profound social commentary, or was Miller just engineering scenes for maximum shock value to sell books? It's incredibly easy to see both sides, genius or trash, without necessarily agreeing with either.
And that specific debate, whether graphic content nullifies artistic merit, didn't just stay in book reviews. I mean, it became a literal legal battleground.
Because U.S. Customs banned the book when it was published in Paris in 1934, right?
Exactly. It wasn't legally printed in the U.S. until Grove Press took the massive risk in 1961. And the moment it hit the shelves, the government cracked down hard.
Which brings us back to those 60-plus lawsuits. So how does one book fighting local bans in over 21 states end up shifting the entire country's legal framework?
Well, the sheer chaos of it all forced the U.S. Supreme Court to step in and make a definitive ruling in 1964.
Oh, okay.
And they didn't just look at whether the book was offensive. They completely reshaped the legal test for obscenity.
Right, the whole redeeming social importance standard.
Exactly. The court decided that a work couldn't be banned as obscene if it had any redeeming social importance. So even if the material was heavily offensive or graphically sexual, if it held literary or scientific or artistic value, it was protected speech.
And that mechanism effectively wiped out all those state-level convictions.
It completely redrew the boundaries of what could be legally expressed in print.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? The reason you can read unfiltered, controversial material today without government interference rests exactly on those legal victories.
Yeah, a starving writer's incredibly graphic diary of Parisian squalor accidentally dismantled American obscenity laws.
It's wild to think about. which leaves you with a final thought to ponder. If Henry Miller believed the 1930s required a radically shocking book to cure the disease of civilization, what kind of literature would it possibly take to shock our desensitized modern world today?